Hello everyone, this is Lucky Loremaster, and I'm going to show you all another Company of Heroes 2 replay. Just the game I did today, actually. You'll notice that the expansion for Company of Heroes 2, which includes the US Army and the Oberkommando West for the German forces, just recently came out, and I've been playing a bit with some of the American Army. Had a good game, just figured I'd share it all with you, so let's kind of dive into the replay here. And I can show you what was a pretty fast-paced and exciting game. It was on one-on-one on the map of Semioski. Just a random setup. It's very enjoyable. It was using a strategy that I'd actually looked up online that focuses heavily on the airborne division, but also has you use armor in coordination that you develop through the normal tech routine. And it's pretty interesting how they've set up the American forces in the second title. It's kind of a strange blend of both the American and British armies in terms of how they were set up during the first game. So I'll just kind of talk my way through it, show you all what's going on. Yeah, I might fast forward through slow parts, obviously, because I want to get to the point, just kind of show it off, talk about what's going on. And have some fun. Sun Tzu said of your enemy, attack him when he is unprepared, appear when you are not expected. That's good advice, and that's something I actually try to do in this game. You'll see at times my little counterattack plans. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to turn off the fog of war so we can see actually what's going on. And should we show resources? Yeah, let's show resources, and we definitely want to show the taskbar, because that's not very much info. So, immediately I start out by planning to go for the fuel points. And we'll do it at, let's say, ×2, makes it a little less absurd. Alright, I start pumping out at least 3 rifleman squads. These are going to be very important for expanding. As you can see, we're focusing on making lots of pioneers. These are the original Pioneer Squad, so he's playing the Osttier, the Germans that originally came with the base game, rather than the new Oberkommando West. So the US system is interesting. Unlike any other of the armies, they actually start with their base completely constructed. And you start at the barracks, where you can produce your base units and get some upgrades, and you can go to the platoon command post or the company command post first, either by making a lieutenant or by making a captain. And once you do those, you can unlock the battalion command post, where you can make the major, and once you research the officer for the first time for each of these different tiers, I should say, you will unlock the vehicles and other units that you can make from that. Now, I was going to be aggressive early on, so I started moving my riflemen up and just started compromising his pioneers by attacking them in force. I wasn't really trying to destroy anyone at this point. I was just trying to take advantage of good cover and put pressure on him, while my other rifleman squads moved around and started taking strategic points in the center and on the flanks. As you can see, he was trying to expand into the south, but there really wasn't much pressure going on here. There's not a lot of fighting at present. Again, I set up inside the church, because this is, at least in terms of this map, one of the most important buildings. It's a great central location. If you can put a decent squad or a few good machine guns in there, you can really compromise the enemy. And at this point, I started moving all my 3 rifleman squads up here. Now you'll notice the vehicle I just made is actually the 3/4-ton ambulance truck. This is a fantastic unit, along with the reserve rear echelon troopers, which are like the engineers for the Americans. This unit, as part of the barracks, is fantastic, because not only can you heal units from it, but you can reinforce from it as well. So if your squad, for example, starts taking too many losses, like they lose a man, you can just go right back here, run him back here, and reinforce it. You can't retreat to it. You can only retreat to the major, which we may see later. But as you can see, I obviously abandoned this post, so he started taking the north. However, at the same time, I was actually pressuring his pioneers from the south, just trying to put as much pressure on them as possible, but then I eventually ended up retreating because the fight wasn't going that well. Again, you not only have to consider what type of unit it is, but how they're armed. The default rifleman company has 5 Garand rifles, so they are best at mid-range, okay at long range, and not very good at close range. So it's better to try to stay at a medium distance like this when you're engaging the enemy, because that's where they'll really be able to take advantage of that. As you can see, it's a 5-man squad. It's good, obviously, to keep them in cover and to try to take any good cover as quickly as possible. See, he left the building. That pretty much just left him wide open, and I was able to drop some Pathfinders, which are one of the initial airborne units. These Pathfinders are great at long range because the 2 of their men have sniper rifles. So they are great for picking off bad guys, and they're really handy that way. As you can see, there's an enemy sniper here, but as soon as he's going to expose himself, our snipers are just going to pick him off. So he wasted a lot of manpower there for no real gain. So I started moving my ambulance up this way because I actually dropped in a 50 caliber machine gun, because I figured if he was going to try to take this northern area, I wanted to stage a decent defense of it with a fully manned squad. So I brought my truck over here and started reinforcing, and as soon as the Ma Deuce 50 cal squad was up to snuff with men, I then wanted to station it right inside this building here to make sure that any approach, because once a machine gun is stationed inside a building, they can fire in any direction provided there's a window for it, which most buildings have a window on all sides. As you can see, my focus here kind of drew his attention, so I brought in a captain unit. And with the captain, we're going to see a few more interesting units coming in. The captain's unit comes equipped with rocket launchers, which makes them particularly effective against light vehicles. The bazooka, I should say. I also got some rear echelon troops because I wanted to build some fuel caches in the middle of the map just to make sure that he doesn't try to cut off my resources. I then start pressuring forward, but I see that he has too many forces here, 2 squads, and so I retreat this rifleman back and bring back the medical ambulance. Now I have the 50 caliber machine gun squad here and a fresh rifleman squad, so I move them both back here. The 50 cal starts suppressing them immediately, and then I began to try to bring in riflemen, I believe from the south, and threw a few grenades at them, and they were just totally pin-bound, so they had to retreat. He had no real option there. And that's just how valuable dropping in a few decent 50 caliber machine guns can make. Keep in mind, if you're using the Paratrooper units, if you drop in either the M1 57mm tank gun or the 50 caliber heavy machine gun, these do not come with crews. So you obviously want to drop them where you actually have units and split up your forces accordingly. And it's good, obviously, to have a medical station nearby, just for the simple fact that you'll obviously then be able to reinforce both of those squads once you split it. So I started putting some real pressure on him here. I'm really driving up my units, and I'm losing a lot of my manpower, as you can see. Mine is on the bottom, to actually reinforce squads and keep them up to snuff. I basically had my medical ambulance come up along with these troops, but I underestimated just how much of a strong attack he was going to make on this northern sector. He actually brought up a lot of forces, and I had dropped in an anti-tank gun to try to help, but it turns out it was just all infantry, and there were just too many, so I ordered the infantry to retreat and tried to get the truck out in time, but I had actually moved it too far forward, and they managed to destroy it before I was able to escape with it. So that's kind of one of the risks of using the ambulance truck, is you want to make sure you set it up so that you can quickly relocate if things go awry. As you can see, the Major is now on the field. The Major is not a combat unit. It's only basically the Major and his 2 personal bodyguards, and he has 3 very important abilities, 4 very important abilities, rather. He can call in a recon flight for 50 munitions, get an idea what's going on. He can call in a rapid barrage, or 120 munitions. We'll see that later in the map. He can call in a fake rapid barrage, where it's only costs 20 munitions, it just throws down the flare signals. Now here's where he tried to continue his huge attack with his infantry force, but because I had that Ma Deuce 50 cal there, they all attacked from the same direction. Even with the flamethrower squad, these guys are just getting suppressed out the wazoo. Some of them are already pinned, the flamethrower squad's getting killed, and I bring in some riflemen from the flank to start trying to shoot them up, and they just don't have a chance. They can't get close enough, and they all have to go running for the hills. As you can see, the fight for the south has gone reasonably well. I brought in some rear echelon troopers and created a fighting position for them. Rear echelon troopers cost a lot less manpower than riflemen, and it's only a 4-man squad, but they're great from defensive positions, because once you put them in a defensive position, they will actually use rifle grenades, which is very effective against infantry and light vehicles. As you can see, I started bringing in the Sherman, just because that's really a great multi-purpose tank, and I had actually not seen him create any armor at this point. What I didn't know is that he was actually holding his Pumas in reserve, upgrading them and whatnot. Now, at this point in the game, I just let the Sherman stay there because I didn't know where he was or what he was trying to do. I knew he had a sizable force, but I didn't know how he was going to deploy it. So I kept moving my infantry forward, making sure they had anti-tank guns, and I was just waiting for the big attack to come. Now, it turns out he actually tried to move these infantry in from the south. However, I had another Modus waiting for him when he came down in this direction. The other men started hurling the rifle grenades, which were inflicting group casualties, and the Modus prevented them from getting any closer than they already were. Now, when I saw this opportunity, I immediately took not only my Sherman, but my M8A1 howitzer motor carriage, which is like a Stuart with a 75mm gun. That's great, a short howitzer for killing infantry, and I just completely decimated this infantry force. That was the objective at this point. I just wanted to smash his infantry and make him completely unable to take any kind of offensive here. Alright, once he had done that, I realized quite quickly he actually had 3 Pumas with the upgraded 50mm cannon, which is very effective. As you can see, my howitzer just could not stand up to the fire. The Sherman managed to destroy 2 of the vehicles before getting taken out, but the third one managed to finish him off. However, I had brought up my infantry in the rear here and set my AT guns on him. It's always good when you have AT guns to at least have 2 of them, because if one gets knocked out, you don't want to be pretty much left without a real option. Especially when he does something like that, where he tries to come around and flank you. So I put one right through him and knocked him out. And as you can see, we're pretty much controlling the map here, and I have lots of resources. As you can see, this is the fast artillery barrage. It just starts raining in really quickly. It's actually quite useful. He is suppressing my infantry who don't really have the opportunity to advance, but the anti-tank guns are going to be able to deal with that. Now he's actually moving in Osttruppen. They're larger squads, 6 squads, but the infantry is, in terms of like their effectiveness, is not very high. So I retreated my weak squads and basically used grenades and the Major's artillery ability to try to distract them and to get them to move around when they don't really need to. And it was then I saw he had another Puma, but luckily the anti-tank gun was already there. And that was the game. It only lasted about 20 minutes and actually ended because of a timeout. I obviously played a little bit longer just to finish him off. You can actually keep playing even though the player's already quit if you just want to finish destroying the map and everything. But all in all, it was a fun match. I hope people enjoyed it. It seems like playing at ×2 speed, it makes for a nice short little recap without having to go through all the slow details of watching your guys running slowly to all the locations, which, you know, while you're playing seems plenty fast enough, but while you're explaining is not necessary. Anyway, so I'm glad you're interested. Glad you watched the video. Please like, comment, or subscribe, and if you guys want to see more of these, just leave a comment and say, hey, we'd like to see more Company Heroes. Just let me know. Talk later, everyone. Bye-bye.